As the NBA season is coming to a close, the Dallas Mavericks are looking to pick up a few more wins and tweak a few things in their schemes and fix a few of their problems. And in doing so, NBA media and even ex-Dallas Mavericks have a lot to say about this Dallas Mavericks team, a lot of their issues that they're having, including Luka Doncic. As just the other day during halftime during the Miami Heat game, Charles Barkley said that Luka needs to trust his teammates more and he needs to do less. We're going to break down that quote, a quote also from Chandler Parsons and Chris Broussard just from this morning. We're going to break all that down, show some supporting arguments for both sides, and I'm going to give my opinion on whether or not I agree with any of it. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavericks Digest, where we're bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started, I just want to give you guys a quick thank you so much for getting this channel to 5K. We've only been out here for about a month now. We started like right before the trade deadline last month. But thanks to you guys watching. Thanks for you guys subscribing. We have hit 5K. I know we got real annoying with my whole spiel about, oh, if you don't want to miss out, make sure you subscribe. I know it got annoying. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with me, showing support, showing the love. I really do appreciate that. And because of that, we are going live today ahead of the Dallas Mavericks. Ahead of the Dallas Mavericks versus the Detroit Pistons game, I'll be going live on this channel. So make sure you tune in. We're going to be doing a giveaway. I'm going to give out the details during the stream about how you can enter the giveaway. But we got a lot of cool stuff going on. But let's get into today's video because the other day, like I said, during halftime against the Miami Heat game, Charles Barkley had a lot that he had to say about Luka Doncic, this Mavericks team, saying how when you're a great player and you play with other great players, your numbers should go down. You should be doing less. You need to trust your team more. And you can feel how you want to feel about Luka Doncic. I've been seeing a lot of fans talk about he's selfish, he's a ball hog, so much ISO play, and some of that I agree with. You know, when you're that good of a player, you do kind of have that takeover, just that dog in you, right? You just have to know when to take over games, when to get your shots off, and just will your team to a win. But if you watch these games with me, just like I do, you would know just as well as I do that sometimes the supporting cast of this Mavericks team don't always step up night in and night out. And sometimes Luka really has to just do even more than the crazy amount that he's already doing to just try to get us to win games. But to quote Charles Barkley, he said he's got to get off the ball. When you play with good players, your numbers should go down, not up, and his numbers keep going up. That's why the team is struggling. And you can agree or disagree. Me personally, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think when you are a great player like Luka Doncic and you have a good supporting cast with Kyrie, Daniel Gafford, Derrick Lively, PJ Washington, and all those guys, yes, your numbers should go down only if their numbers go up. And we've seen, for example, Josh Green is in a weird slump right now where he's making mistakes. And not even on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, where we saw flashes of him being great defensively. But as of late, his defense hasn't been there. Luka got on him in the last game about a horrible defensive blow-by. And Josh Green, he's young, he's going to get together. But another player we saw just have a complete slump is the obvious Tim Hardaway Jr., who is just having a horrible shooting slump over like the past 5-7 games. And so we can also talk about Maxi Kleber and a couple other guys as well, but the more glaring issues, it's hard to trust these guys to just produce and to help you win these games if they're missing shots, if they're not, where they need to be defensively, if they're not getting rebounds, if they're, especially as of late, if the defense isn't there, because you can argue that Luka's scoring way too much, but the Mavericks offense isn't the problem, it is the defense. And I agree, if Luka wants to win more games, you should trust your team more. But I also agree that that team, while being trusted by Luka, needs to do right by Luka and step up night after night. And I'll just throw up the box score. Oh, if I can find the box score. Wow, I'm everywhere. Here we go. The box score from the Miami Heat game the other day. PJ Washington shot 4 of 12 from the floor. 33% from the floor. He was 1 of 6 from 3. Derrick Jones Jr. didn't make a single shot except from the free throw line. Daniel Gafford had a good game. He hit all his shots, was 2 of 4 from the free throw line. Kyrie, 9 of 19, not too bad. He was 3 of 9 from 3. Luka, 50% from the floor. 7 of 13 from 3, over 50% from the free throw line. I'm sorry, from the three-point line, as well as 100% from the free throw line. But then you got Maxey only attempting 3 shots, and he was 1 of 3. Tim Hardaway Jr. was 3 of 11 while being 2 of 6 from the three-point line. You have Derrick Lively, who only took 3 shots. Josh Green as well only took 3 shots. So a lot of this has to, fall on the guys either deferring too much to Luka on the offensive end, because if you watch these games, you see the ball will start to move. It always finds a way back to Luka. And the guys got to get more involved. They have to attack the basket more, take those shots, take good shots, not ill-advised shots, because Luka is a great passer. He's a good facilitator, good playmaker, so he can get these guys good, wide-open looks. But if they're not knocking these shots down, and if we're not getting a bucket, and it's been a few minutes, and the other team's on a run, of course Luka's going to go off. Of course he's going to drop a 37-point triple-double. And again, triple-double, he's averaging about 9 assists a game. He's getting the team involved. He's playmaking, he's facilitating, and I understand at times it looks like it's just this hero ball, me type deal. But when you're Luka Doncic of that talent and you have that team around you, not saying that they're bad, not saying that they're great, but sometimes you need to know when you need to just take over a game. Just demand the ball. We talk about fourth quarter Kai all the time, and he does that every game in the fourth quarter where it's like, all right, I'm going to will my way into this game. We're going to pull ourselves out of it. I'm going to hit a quick three. I'm going to drive to the basket and get to the foul line with an and one. That's the type of person that we know Kyrie Irving is, and why can't Luka also be that player? Again, I'm not trying to put too much blame on anybody, but the bench needs to step up if Luka's going to trust them more to help him win games. But we also have this that we want to look at, is that Luka Doncic is leading the league right now in usage. 35.9, which is a whole 7 points higher than Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is second. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is second on this list. So yes, so to Charles Barkley's point, the ball should probably be in your hands less. You have the highest usage rate in the entire league while playing next to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving didn't even crack the top 10 in usage rate, and he's still able to produce very well for this team. And like I said before, I think the issues really are just who else is going to produce if Luka's not doing these crazy 35, 45 triple doubles night after night. I understand. Trust your team, but that team has to step up, and we see flashes of it. We saw it in the first half of the season when Tim Hardaway Jr. was having a great start to the season. People were talking about, oh, sixth man of the year, Tim Hardaway. I was enjoying it. But as Mavs fans, we know how up and down Tim Hardaway is, where he can start the season very well and he finds himself in a slump and you just don't know where he goes. The same goes for Josh Green, where a lot of Mavs fans were very low on Josh Green at the early point of this season, whether or not if he's going to improve at all, take that leap. So a lot of these guys just have to step up, but I also agree Luka should defer a little bit more to the guys. He should get them more involved, but not to take away from his own game, if that makes sense. You don't want Luka to just have abysmal stats and you're still losing. And I think that's where all this comes from, is that the Mavericks just aren't winning games. Because if Luka Doncic was still able to put up these crazy numbers, the 34, 9, and 9, almost a 35-point triple-double average on the season, if Luka Doncic could put those type of numbers up while still winning games, while being like a top 4 or 5 team in the West, we'd have a completely different conversation. So it's not necessarily his stats per se, but more so your impact on winning and how do you help your team impact winning. And as a point guard, that's kind of your job. And Charles Barkley, in the little clip that I watched, he alluded to that. As great point guards are, your job is to facilitate, get the team involved, and will your way to a victory, to the wins. And again, my opinion, I think Luka is fine. It's more so the bench. But that's just my opinion. You guys let me know down below what you think. Who do you agree with? Charles Barkley, that Luka needs to do less and his numbers should go down? Or maybe you think Luka's fine, the team needs to step up? You let me know. But we have another quote. This quote as well that we're going to go over. Barkley talking about Harden in May of 2021, saying he's the best one-on-one player I may have ever seen. Barkley on Luka recently. His numbers should be going down. Media loves to compare Luka to Harden in a disparaging way, but Harden got a lot of love from them before and an MVP. And I think that's very true. When James Harden was in Houston, when he won his MVP, he was putting up crazy numbers. Went on like a whole, month and a half of dropping like 35 plus points, a couple 50-point games, 60-point games. He was on a tear. Prime Harden was legit. And they were the first seed in the West. So again, winning kind of alleviates all that ball hog stat padding, tag that people try to put on people. If you're winning games, no one cares what your stats look like, right? But just for comparison, this was James Harden on the left. This is him in his MVP season. And on the right is Luka Doncic today. Obviously, James Harden played more games. Luka still has a few more games to play. But Luka is scoring more, rebounding more, assisting more than James Harden in James Harden MVP season. 1.8 steals to 1.4, 0.7 blocks to 0.6, fairly the same. Field goal percentage. Luka Doncic shoots the ball 5% higher than James Harden from the floor, while also shooting about 2% higher from three than James Harden. Free throw percentage, James Harden's got it. James Harden was also known to attempt like 12 or 13 free throws a game. And we all know Luka can't buy a foul even if he was in Best Buy with a coupon. You know what I mean? So just look at these numbers. Luka Doncic, MVP, you can make that argument. The numbers are there. He's on by the numbers, putting up better numbers than James Harden in his MVP season. But the only difference is James Harden was winning games. Now, that same year, they flamed out in the Western Conference Finals to the Golden State Warriors, who went to go see the Toronto Raptors, and the Raptors won. So there's a little history lesson, but Luka Doncic is putting up crazy numbers. Maybe scale it back a little bit, but I do think it's kind of funny where we look at some players who put up these crazy wild numbers, but they get a lot of love for it, while Luka Doncic gets a lot of hate for it. And maybe if we had more wins, that would be a different story. But the reason for that, I can't really get behind saying that it's all on Luka when it's a team out there. It's everybody from the coach to the last guy on the bench, which seems to be Jaden Hardy lately. But that's not what we're talking about today. But also, Chandler Parsons wanted to come out the woodwork from wherever he's hiding to just hate on Luka Doncic, saying, I think Luka Doncic is an unbelievable talent. But as a teammate, it's a little exhausting watching the same crap over and over again. And I watched the video. He was just saying a whole lot of nothing, talking about Luka needs to get his team involved. Luka's doing too much. And again, the only real thing that these guys can really just use to prove their point is that you're not winning games with Luka playing like this. But if you watched some of these most recent games, if Luka wasn't dropping a triple double, whatever, I'm all over the place because it's crazy. If Luka Doncic was not putting up a 30-point triple double in these past few games, we would lose by even more. So if you want Luka to do less, you need to ask the rest of the team to do more, because if he's not putting up 35 points a night on the games that we win, are we still winning? If he's not assisting at least 9 to 10 assists a game, are we still winning these games? If the rebounds, everything, if Luka does anything less, do we really do better? And again, the team needs to step up. Everybody around needs to do their part when it's their time. When Luka's off the bench, that's the perfect time for everybody to just pop off. Get your shots off. Do what you need to do to win. And when Luka comes back on, let Luka work. But Chandler Parsons, not the only person who had something to say about Luka Doncic, but Chris Broussard, saying they're not wasting his prime. Luka's got to look in the mirror. Chauncey Billups told me a decade ago that if I dribbled the ball for 20 seconds and I either took the shot or passed it to the guy who's going to take the shot, I'd have great numbers too. And I don't really understand this. I feel like the game has evolved so much between 2013 to 2023, 2014 to 2024. The game has changed a lot. And if we're talking about Chauncey Billups back in the day, in the early 2000s, the game changed even more. So Chris Broussard just, again, it feels like people are just picking apart Luka's game to attribute to why we're losing, to why Luka has these inflated stats, and just pinning that all on him as why the Mavericks aren't doing well. And for me personally, that doesn't sit right with me, but there is some validity to what they're all saying, because the common denominator is the wins. If the Mavericks had more wins, if we were a higher seeded team, none of these talking points would really matter, because the Mavericks would be in a good position with a great player who's popping off, nothing to worry about. But the fact of the matter is this Mavericks team is very talented, and while we're sitting at the 8th, almost the 9th seed right now, it is pretty embarrassing. But we are playing the Detroit Pistons today, which I will be going live for, so make sure you tune into that live stream where I'm going to give you all the details on our jersey giveaway and what comes with that and going forward with this channel, because again, thank you guys so much for just getting me to this point. It's been awesome. Thank you for making it this far to the video. Make sure you subscribe, because we're still going up from here, baby. Check out our Twitter and Discord in the link in the description below. And until next time, y'all take care. Peace.